obviously players like LeBron, Steph Curry, who else is there? Kevin Durant, Giannis. Those guys don't really need to worry about that. Some players, though, somehow find themselves getting immense amount of voting for no reason at all. Maybe because they're just popular, maybe because they're just memed on for that year. I don't know. So we're going to be just taking a look at sometimes players really just sneak in and become NBA starters for the All-Star game. Oh wow, talk about one that was recent. This one I remember, again, starting out watching a lot of basketball in the early 2010s. 2010 actually, NBA All-Star game. And this one also sort of makes sense, and I'm going to tie this one in with another one after I read off this one, is because of retirement. 2010, close to the end, or maybe even was the end, of Allen Iverson's career. 2010. Allen Iverson averaged 13 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists that year, only playing 28 games so far in that season. So halfway, that's 41 games-ish, give or take, and he played 28 of those games. Man, that's pretty interesting. Again, of course, popularity, but I think this one is also one that makes sense. It's kind of like, when Dwayne Wade, Dirk Nowitzki were honorary All-Stars for their year that they were in the NBA All-Star game, which was amazing. I'm so happy they do that, and they should continue on doing that for amazing, great players. I wish they would have done that for, I don't know, like Vince Carter, or if some other sort of major NBA players decide to retire sometimes too, like maybe even like Carmelo Anthony, knock on wood. I'm not saying he should retire anytime soon, but if he does, I think an honorary All-Star spot for Carmelo would be absolutely amazing and absolutely deserving. Kind of like with Allen Iverson here. I mean, one of the most, if not the most influential player in NBA history, maybe. I mean, this dude changed the culture of the NBA over a small, span of time. It was absolutely amazing. So, it makes sense. He, in my opinion, deserves to be on that All-Star team, but as an NBA All-Star starter, I think at some point in time they have to change the criteria of an NBA All-Star starter. We're going to talk about that at the end of the video, like what I think about the All-Star voting and how it should change, things like that. But Allen Iverson, 2010, should he have been an All-Star? Yes. A starter? Absolutely not. And again, tying in with Allen Iverson, not a retirement All-Star spot, but definitely on the decline of his NBA career. 2014 NBA All-Star starter, Kobe Bryant. Ooh, yikes. Obviously Kobe had a very, slowly but still a downward hill towards the end of his career, and obviously he retired in 2016. 2014 NBA All-Star starter, averaged 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists, so not terribly bad. I guess what's even worse about it, though, he only played six games that year. He played 6 games. NBA All-Star starter, kind of like how with Klay Thompson was almost voted into an All-Star starter this year. I guess it happened with Kobe Bryant. Definitely pretty interesting, not gonna lie. But in reading this article, it even says that Kobe asked and, basically said and told people to stop voting for him. But that didn't happen. Obviously, he's Kobe Bryant. It's amazing. People voted for him. He was an NBA All-Star starter. I'm not sure if he actually played in the All-Star game that year. I'm pretty sure he did. But that's pretty wild. Again, same thing with sort of Allen Iverson. Do they deserve to be All-Stars? Of course, 1,000%. Should they be taking a spot from, maybe a player who's having a crazy NBA season? Probably not. As a starter, that is. They can let him finish the game. They can let him run the entire game. But, as a starter, that is such... Again, for NBA players, I'm assuming it's probably very important to them. So that does kind of suck. But Kobe Bryant, he should have been an All-Star every single year of his, most of his career, I should say. It kind of sucks to see that. I actually don't remember this at all, but apparently, then again, it was quite some time ago. In 2011, Yao Ming was voted in as an NBA All-Star starter. 2011, I do not remember that at all. In the games, 10 points, NBA All-Star starter. Of course, Yao Ming, the absolute legend, not only in the NBA for just, how crazy that 7'6" whatever guy is, but also the fact that in China he is like a god, maybe. Like, he is just an icon, 1000%. Like, he's like the LeBron, I guess, or even the Michael Jordan of China, for basketball, that is. And it's pretty cool that he did get, I guess, a lot of support from, where he's from, which is amazing. But also, like, come on, like 5 games, like, that is just, in 1994, B.J. Armstrong was named an All-Star starter, and this was actually the first year that Michael Jordan wasn't in the NBA. It was when he retired from the NBA, and I guess, Bulls Nation, or whatever you guys call yourselves, the Herd, no, that's the Bucks, I have no idea, ended up voting in B.J. Armstrong as an NBA All-Star starter. Now get this, B.J. Armstrong averaged 14 points per game, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. Definitely not the greatest stats. I mean, of course, the Bulls ended up having a very successful season. I mean, of course, they were the Bulls of the 90s. They should have won a title, but obviously without Michael Jordan, definitely made that a lot harder. But should have B.J. Armstrong taken the place of Michael Jordan for that All-Star spot? Definitely not. Obviously, the 90s is full of elite NBA Hall of Famers, and maybe you could suggest that someone else sort of taken that spot. I mean, there's probably some Hall of Famers that maybe weren't an All-Star during that time period that should have been because of B.J. Armstrong. Again, B.J. Armstrong is an amazing basketball player. I mean, he was a really big reason why that team was good when it was, because of how deep that team was. But man, that is just interesting. Again, it's sort of just a popularity contest type of one. This one was definitely in the modern era of NBA basketball. This one included 3 All-Stars on a team that ended up going 60-22 in the year 2015. From the Atlanta Hawks, Korver, yes, averaging a whopping 12 points per game, 2 assists, and 4 rebounds. Give it up for Korver. No. Of course, Korver, especially in that day and age, was maybe the best shooter in the NBA. Maybe. I'm trying to think. Steph Curry. Well, I mean, you could probably argue Steph Curry, but he wasn't really, popping just yet, very closely. But Korver, off a screen, moving 3-point shot, man, that guy was just absolute money. But Steph Curry was probably still a better shooter, but Korver is one of the best shooters of all time in NBA history, that's for sure. And maybe that in itself could maybe get him an All-Star spot, but man, 12 points per game, 2 assists. That is crazy. Now, obviously, I guess team record does somehow fit into a category when doing All-Stars, and obviously a team that ended up going 16-22 in that year, them getting 3 All-Stars, isn't that sort of crazy? I mean, of course, teams that have great success usually have great players, which means they have more probability of making an All-Star team and also more popularity. So this team, I guess it makes sense, but man, again, this is definitely one that it's just like, why? I guess, again, it's just popularity. In that time, the Atlanta Hawks were probably at their best they've ever been. I mean, it's probably the best record they've ever had in their franchise history, and it's definitely probably the most, hype that team has had in quite some time. Definitely were maybe even favorites to win out the East, even with a prime LeBron James there, even though I think LeBron swept them in the playoffs. Definitely pretty bad, but I get it. Korver, amazing 3-point shooter, but should he have been an All-Star? Probably not, just because of his team record, really. Oh, this one is kind of iconic as well. In 1989, that's not terribly bad. And also, the Blazers of the early 90s were a dominant team. So again, you're on a dominant team, you're most likely to get more all-star spots. And it looks like the Blazers were a part of that, that's for sure. We have James Donaldson in 1988 was also named an NBA All-Star, putting up 7 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 block per game. How is he an All-Star? What? Not sure how that guy made it on the team, but hey, 1988, that's pretty wild. Any other ones that really are surprising? I think we can stop there. There's one right here from the 1956 NBA All-Star game. Dick McGuire was an All-Star, putting up 7 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds, shooting 34% from the field. Was an NBA All-Star. Hey man, it is pretty wild, not gonna lie. Now I'm gonna just be rambling on about like the NBA All-Star game and like how I find the voting is, and I think the NBA All-Star game should be maybe a little bit less of a fan vote than what it is. Again, you guys can probably tell, Andrew Wiggins, I don't care that Andrew Wiggins is an NBA All-Star. I don't care that he's an All-Star. Should he be, representing the Western Conference as one of the top players of the conference? No. That's no offense to Andrew Wiggins, but I do think there are other players who represent the Western Conference of their best players this current NBA season than Andrew Wiggins. That's my argument. That is, I don't care if you want to put Andrew Wiggins on the reserves because he is very popular. He's having a really good season. The Warriors are obviously a title contending team. That makes a lot of sense, sure. But should he be representing the West as the Western Conference's best players of the year so far? In my opinion, no. But again, that's just the popularity part of this, and I think, again, 50% of the vote is a little too hefty for, the fans, giving fans that much power. I mean, dude, the NBA is full of trolls. I mean, just look at NBA Twitter, it's full of trolls, and I don't know, one player can just get super memed on and just be thrown into a catapult of voting and just shoot up and skyrocket to being on the team. And I'm not saying Andrew Wiggins is that guy, but it can happen, and, in my opinion, it's not fair, I guess, even though, again, Andrew Wiggins, a great player. Could he be an NBA All-Star off the bench or reserve? I 1000% yes, but, again, representing the West, I'm not entirely sure. A lot of people really wanted KarlAnthony Towns to be an NBA All-Star over him in his place because, obviously, the Timberwolves are in a playoff position, being in a better spot than they have been in a very long time, since probably, they made the playoffs in, 2017, whenever Jimmy Butler was there, and that was a handful of years ago already. So, I mean, does KarlAnthony Towns deserve an All-Star spot because he's, really helping that team get to a better spot than he have been in years and years and years? Maybe. Obviously, of course, with Rudy Gobert, I've heard about other arguments about having positionless voting, which, in my opinion, yes. I think if it came down to it, and, LeBron James was the tallest and strongest player on your team, you can have LeBron play center for the game, and if the Eastern Conference had Giannis can play center if that's what it came down to be. I don't like this idea of having, you have to have this many front courts and this many back courts, and, they all have to be in a certain position and this and that. Luka Doncic can play point guard, he can play small forward, LeBron can play point guard, he can play power forward, he can play center. It's time that you have to vote in that sort of order as well, so I don't really like that, because it also takes away from the fact that, Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks are having a great year, and Luka can't even get to a spot because he is technically a guard, but obviously, John Morant and Steph Curry having the best years of their careers right now, and I guess Luka is just the odd man out because of that, even though he is 6'7" and can play 3 or maybe even 4 other positions. It kind of sucks. So I think if you are going to be doing fan voting, just